You've done all these other pretty things, but when it comes down to the main infrastructure of the roof, you would think that that would have gotten some sort of update as well, but clearly not. So, and going back to my other point, I mean, is it that out of the question that
you are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Double A days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
In every season, they've gone to the playoffs up till now, but there's still baseball afoot, playoff baseball that is. Not the Rays involved, but it gives you an excuse to grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel, and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase.
All right. Still crazy times recovering from Hurricane Milton. 100-year storm. As we learned, it was a biggie because you talked about it on Monday. The Tropicana roof has been totally upended and removed, and that was quite a sight to see if you've witnessed the drone video and photo. And the big question is, I have somewhat been out of the loop as to what the Rays have said and what the response is, but I think the obvious question, and we will get to some playoff baseball talk as well, as we are in the championship series going on here. Just a little update. But yeah, you showed it on the screen there, just totally ruptured. And will the Rays play there for their home games in 2025? I think that's the big thing floating in the sky, so to speak.
Yeah. I like you said, I talked about it on Monday's episode. I don't think they would forego the next 3 seasons and say, "Yep, we're just going to move to Port Charlotte for the next 3 seasons." I don't believe that. I think the roof is going to get fixed, but I want to get your take. Like, what do you think is going to happen in the 2025 season? Is it going to be split between Wide World of Sports in Orlando and Port Charlotte? Only Port Charlotte? Is it going to be the whole 2025 season? How long can this roof take to get fixed, plus the water damage that was done to the field?
Right.
Give me your take. People want to hear your take, Kevin.
Well, there's a lot at stake there. My thought is the Rays are a big company with a lot of money, whether you believe it or not, and they have some influence. So I would imagine that could maybe get the ball rolling on getting that roof repaired compared to some other areas that were hit and damaged. And when is opening day? March 27th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So even if it's not available by March 27th, doesn't mean that they can't move back into the Trop sometime during the 2025 season. If there is a longer lead time of, hey, we can't get you in there till May or June, I think that would be okay. And maybe you find your first couple months playing elsewhere. It's not that crazy. Other teams have had to do it during COVID, notably the Blue Jays, where they played in Dunedin and then shipped off to Toronto after that. So that would be my thought, is March 27th to me is a drop dead date that you may have some wiggle room. I would be more concerned as you get into the June, July, the August, the heavy rain and heat and humidity season for baseball. A lot of the minor league ballparks, all the minor league ballparks, I guess, in the Tampa Bay area, they get rained out so often, so frequently. Why do I know that? Because I've tried to go to a lot of weekday minor league games this year, and we're delayed. We're rained out. So unless you can find one that has an ideal drainage system or one that the Rays can pay to upgrade a drainage system, I would think that you'll want to do everything you can to get back into the Trop by those midsummer months, if you will. So
now you alluded to it in the beginning by saying that they are a very rich company. I said it would be a very bad PR look to say it's too costly to fix the roof and we're moving out anyway. We're going to tear it down in 3 years. So sorry, we're not really going to do that. That's a waste of money. I think that would be a very bad PR move. So
right.
You alluding that to them being rich in the beginning, is that also your train of thought?
As far as it would be a bad look just to say, hey, forget Tropicana Field for the next 3 years. We're going to play elsewhere. Yeah, I don't really see that as a viable option. Look, I'm not a builder, an engineer, or anything like that. I mean, it's going to look tacky. Heck, people make fun of the Trop as it is, and being a warehouse and not a place that is ideal for baseball. But I don't know, maybe put some sort of blue tarp over it, just like homes that are damaged during hurricanes that you can deal with. But I would think that you would need to remedy the field and put a sustainable Band-Aid on it for 3 years. And I would imagine that they've got to have some sort of insurance or some procedures that say, okay, in the case of a disaster, this can get alleviated relatively quickly, because we also have to remember it's not just used for baseball, but it's also used for other events and staging if there is another disaster or issue in the future. So I think that's an important note, is that, hey, it's not just an entertainment baseball facility, but actually can have other uses for the community beyond playing sport. So yeah, I'm sure that smarter heads in the organization will make a determination on that. But I would think that you got to do kind of a quick touch up and fix, get the water damage alleviated, and go from there. Heck, I'm honestly, when was the Trop built? It was built in the late 80s and opened in 90. So it has withstood many a hurricane and many a storm. So credit to that facility and credit to the people that put that together, that it has lasted this long. And it was Milton that ultimately tumbled it, so to speak.
I'm glad you touched on that, because that's my third and biggest point that I wanted to get from you. There was an article on The Athletic, and I'm going to just read a little excerpt about it. The roof had never been replaced in the more than 34 years since it was installed, despite being well past its intended service life, according to David Campbell, a principal at Geiger Engineers, the group that installed the roof for the stadium's opening in 1990. He said the Teflon's fabric service life is approximately 25 years. 1990 plus 25 is 2015. So since 9 years ago, somebody should have raised their hand and said, hey, a software update on the roof is needed.
Right.
And 9 years happened, and zilch, zero, nada. Kevin, is that not strange? Am I crazy here for expecting a facility that hosts 40,000 plus people to have at least one mother bleeping dude that is in charge of saying, yep, it's about that time. We should get that. We should get that looked at.
Well, it's funny because if you look at like parks and other facilities and other communities and cities, a lot of them get the label of, hey, it's past its useful life and it's time to do something about it. So I would say that the Rays aren't unique in that scenario and situation. But yeah, I would think as part of other upgrades that have happened to the Trop, that would be implemented or incorporated somewhere. I mean, got a really nice video board, you've updated concession areas, you've done payless enhanced technological maneuvers throughout the Trop, you put a museum of sorts in there, a hall of fame, you've done all these other pretty things. But when it comes down to the main infrastructure of the roof, you would think that would have gotten some sort of update as well, but clearly not. So, and going back to my other point, I mean, is it that out of the question that, look, again, for the early months of the season, that you kind of play with the roof open as long as the field is in good shape? I mean, it would look extremely, extremely tacky and trashy. I get that. But,
well, there must be
you know,
construction being made. That's the problem. Like, you can't
yeah,
have, you know.
that's true. It's hard to do it simultaneously as
Yeah.
people are working on the thing, and, somebody hits a ball in the air and knocks a truss down or something like that. I'm
will
really out
say
of my element
something.
talking about this, but
I will say something. Right before construction, this is not going to happen, people. But it would be kind of cool to just watch one game.
yes, just do it for the gram. Do it for the moment, for the memory.
Yes.
I think that would be a historical sight to see. Who cares? What does it matter? I mean,
hey, and you know what? Let's do something. The money that you raise for those tickets goes to charity.
Yeah, do it.
The Rays
Or
Foundation.
at least have a spring training game there. Maybe that's the idea, is have a spring training game there or an exhibition game, see how it goes over, and use that money for charity. I'm all for it. Might as well go out the box with it.
But then that would like delay the construction though. So I'm talking like do a game, even if it's I mean I would say like a college or something like that, or just an exhibition game in January, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna happen.
Okay, so I do have a couple more points on this matter, but first I think we have to tell the audience something very important.
That's right, and that's that the playoffs are coming. And if you're in a city like New York, like Los Angeles, like Cleveland, well, hello, you got some playoff baseball that you can go see live. And for that, you can use Game Time. Why? Because they have flash deals, which means that you can save even more by the exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. And they also have zone deals. Save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time. The algorithm will just choose your seats, kind of like a chat GPT of sorts. And my favorite, seat views. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. So today, take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets and more with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
All right. So, and I didn't hear what you had to say on this matter, but say the Trop is out of the question. MLB, the city, whomever says, nah, you can't play in there until everything is fixed, roof included. Where would you want to see the Rays play? Is it Port Charlotte? Is it Orlando? Is it Durham? Is it one of the other minor league facilities, or a facility not being used that heavily? Do you have a take on this?
I said Port Charlotte. I think it's it's the one that makes the most sense. They own it. They play spring training there. They've got the right facilities, at least as close as can be.
Right.
For a major league stadium. We know that it has been done before, like you said, Dunedin, otherwise known as the place that Taylor Walls debuted in MLB. People forget.
Right.
We don't. So yeah, Port Charlotte would be that place. And I think it would make sense also, logistically speaking, Orlando, just because it's not that far away. And they've already done very recently their spring training, their half and half in 2023 after Hurricane Ian destroyed Port Charlotte. So I think that would be the ranking 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think those are two solid options. One thing about Port Charlotte, and maybe Orlando, I'm not privy to all the details, but I remember when the Blue Jays had to move to Dunedin for a period of time, they had to upgrade the lights at night to MLB standards. So I just wonder the challenge of that, how much that cost, and also the facilities. Do you have the right batting cages and training facilities and everything that's needed for a major league team to conduct business in the regular season. That's
and
what I would
stuff that
throw out.
you might not even be privy. Like, okay, lights, we can all be like, oh yeah, the lights make sense. But like, what about like Statcast radar stuff?
Right.
You know,
all that stuff
you
has to
need.
be installed, the Hawkeye systems and all the
All of
other mechanics of that. I got to be honest, hey, I know it's crazy, but maybe Raymond James Stadium, do the old Oakland thing. Maybe.
Wait. When does preseason football?
Preseason football begins in August, and
that's the earliest. They don't have like they don't have like a
training
training or anything before that. That is it. August.
Yeah, I don't think there's not a preseason game until early August or mid.
And they don't do training in the field. They do training outside, right?
I don't know how much of that they do on the field, but they have an indoor practice facility that they utilize. So,
well,
possibility.
Okay, you got me. You know, because
you got the parking too. The parking. Hey, if you can hold 60,000 fans for a Sunday game or a Monday game or a Thursday game, then I would think that you could make it work for a Rays series or two.
Watching the Rays in Tampa for whatever amount of time, it would be bleeping.
Let's measure what the attendance is. If we're getting 28,000 fans a night at RJS, then we may have made a grave mistake of rebuilding a new stadium.
I'll take
right
it
next to Tropicana Field.
Well, just give me 3 years then. You know, give me 3 years in Tampa.
Unless they can really rack it up construction on the new ballpark, like I'm talking 24-hour crews every single day, quadruple do whatever has to be done to get that thing built in a year. But that's
right. Oh my gosh, no, I like the pie in the sky Raymond James. Yeah. I hadn't thought about that. I'm like,
hey, it's not the first time that baseball's been played in an NFL stadium. Just throwing that out there. So, all right, shall we move on to a playoff update?
Let's do it. NLCS tied. Dodgers have won the first game. The Mets came back, won the second game. They take the series back to Queens, to Flushing. Kevin, do you have a horse in this race?
I really, and I know we're going to get to the ALCS. I really only have one horse in the postseason race, and that is the Guardians, because all these other teams with bloated, inflated payrolls, I'm like, you just bought your team. You didn't really have to do much work. I mean, with the $300 million, $280 million payroll, that's the easy part. But I clearly am not a fan of the Dodgers or the Mets, but I will say the Mets have been a pretty unique and cool story, and they just seem to have the magic so far this season, the last couple months of the regular season. But there's also a part of me that wants to see Shohei Ohtani on the biggest stage in the sport, and I think that's ultimately the difference maker for me. And I think just like the ALCS, the NLCS should be a good series, back and forth. Both of these teams have their own individual strengths. The Dodgers, they're thin on pitching staff, or starting pitching staff, I should say. They have a strong bullpen. If the bullpen can last for another couple of series, we'll see. But they also have the firepower of Betts and Freeman and Ohtani and others. Whereas the Mets are just, this could just be one of those cases where it's their year, and no matter who they go up against and face, they find a way to get through it and win a close game, win a game late, and have big moment after big moment after big moment. So
I agree with you. I think the Mets are a funner club to root for, because even though they do have a bloated payroll, I think like $100 million is like not even on the active roster.
That's true. Yeah, they've dealt with some injuries. Yeah,
and again, that's not saying that poor $200 million Mets. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But just wanted to like put that little asterisk there. Dude, Freeman is so good that he should be on crutches, and the dude's playing first base and like hobbling third and scoring runs. Like it's
He should
nuts.
be playing in a Rays uniform if we up the offer and weren't playing in the Trop.
Exactly. Hey, yeah. In an alternate reality, he is a Rays player. But no, it's really that. It's either a fun Mets team and bleep the Dodgers for what they stand for, but it's Shohei. I want to see Shohei.
Yep.
I want to see Shohei in the brightest of lights, man. And we already saw it in the World Baseball Classic, and he was like, "Yeah, fam, I'll be a starter, and then I'll jack two, and then I'll come in and close the game against Betts and Trout." Like, no problem. Like, this guy's a superhero in the sport. So I want to see the superhero in the biggest stage. So yeah, it's kind of conflicting there for me.
Yeah. And the Mets are the classic, hey, getting hot when it counts. You come in the postseason as a number 6 seed, roll through the Brewers, took care of the Phillies like it was, and look, so it's not like the Dodgers are going to phase them by any means. And again, that starting pitching rotation or lack thereof for the Dodgers come back to bite them. Comes to that. And the first series, the first couple games, I should say, have been lopsided to some extent. You had what was it? The Dodgers winning 9-0 in game 1, and then game 2, the Mets come back and put up a 7 spot as the Dodgers score 3. So there's that on the NLCS. Do you want to mention the ALCS? But first, we have to tell the audience something very important, like FanDuel. NFL fans, you can start the season with a big, and I mean big, return on FanDuel. That is America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So good of a deal, I will repeat that again. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com.
Well, Kevin, the ALCS, one team that we're not friendly towards, but we don't hate them, I don't think.
Yes.
We've had our crosses with them in the playoffs in the Guardians. And another team that we despise.
Yes.
In the New York Yankees. So I think everybody that watches this and is hitting that like button right now, just like it's like a toll. It's a toll right now to keep watching this. Just hit that bleeping like button. Just boom, like it once. And subscribe if you haven't.
Yeah. Just don't donate money to us on YouTube because we don't get that money. So
yeah. Good advertisement. Thank you for that. And Stu doesn't get that money either.
No, he doesn't.
If he did, we would tell him, hey, please use it for the roof.
Yes, please. Yeah, let's do a GoFundMe for the roof, a Kickstarter for the roof. I mean, it'd be great if just Stu opened his wallet and said, all right, I got the roof. I'll pay for it. It'll be done by tomorrow.
That like would be
fence that breaks.
He has the opportunity to, and again, parentheses, we're going to talk about the LCS, but parentheses, Stu Sternberg has the opportunity. The Rays have the opportunity to look like such badasses.
Yeah.
Hey, community, Tampa Bay community, we are just hurt with what had just happened. And we're going to do our best to bring the community together. And we know that one way to bring community together is to have baseball back into our daily lives. And we know what the Trop means to you. And so we have just started planning the reconstruction of the Trop roof, 100% on our bill.
Unique idea here. Probably wouldn't work, but I'll throw it out there. To raise additional funds to get this thing done, you could sponsor the top of the dome. You could sponsor the roof. Dex Imaging Dome, Publix Dome, Louisiana Hot Sauce Dome, Spectrum Dome, whatever you want to
Dome.
Truist Dome, I don't care. And then you have the logo of that particular company branded somewhere that's visible on the dome. I know it has kind of that downward slope that you can see off the interstate.
Sick.
And there you go. Have it light up at night and you got a winner.
I need people to, on the YouTube comments, right the bleep now, which company should it be for the dome? Do not make it Tropicana.
Yeah.
Do not make it
Can't be
Tropicana.
Tropicana. Yeah.
Let's be creative here. What would be a good dome? In the best dome, comment, dome sponsor,
Yes.
it's going to get a shout out for sure.
All right. Cleveland Guardians versus New York Yankees. Again, we definitely don't want the Yankees to advance to the World Series. And there's things I like about the Guardians that I think, Ulises, you also like about the Guardians. For one, they aren't one of those big, bloated, big market payroll teams. They do it on a relatively stringy budget of, according to what I looked at, about $106 million. And Alex Cobb was the game one go-to. Your boy.
My boy.
Your go-to. You're one of your favorite Rays players of all time, still kicking and starting game one of an ALCS at 36 years old, coming back from injury to make that appearance. And the Guardians, I feel like if they advance all the way and win the whole thing, it should give Rays fans some hope in the sense of, look, their offense is better than what the Rays was in 2024, but it's not like out of this world. It's pretty average-esque. They were 17th in team OPS, 12th in homers. They're really positioned and run by one superstar player in Jose Ramirez, surrounded by a bunch of role players and guys that Stephen Vogt, the manager, can platoon and put in the best position to succeed, whether you're a righty or a lefty. The key, though, is that they don't strike out. They were one of the lowest strikeout teams in all of baseball. So I think that's something that the Rays should look at going forward. Find a team that can get middling offense and strike out much less than they presently are. Combine that with a low team ERA and a team that plays defense, and maybe you can make something happen.
Which usually they do, right? They do have the pitching. Usually they do have good defense. But, you know, they are missing a switch hitting Dominican infielder who has pop, who can run the bases well, who has a really good glove. If only the Rays ever had a guy from Bani also.
Yeah.
But,
well,
they don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
No, they don't. Unfortunately, anymore.
So,
but maybe Junior Caminero, again, he's not going to have the speed or necessarily. Look, Jose Ramirez is maybe top 5, top 10 player in all of baseball.
I think this will be the 5th time that he will get top 5th finish in the MVP voting race. Like he is amazing. He is a terrific player.
He's well on his way to Hall of Fame. Like he only needs probably 3 more seasons like this or close to this, and he's only 31 years old, if I may mention.
Yeah, no, I feel like if he has 3-4 more seasons like this, he gets on the don't screw up too bad. Don't get on the Andrew Jones.
Yeah, where you become absent for the last 6 years. Yeah, if you can maintain the consistency for a couple years, that would be key.
I think he's already crossed the 50 B WAR.
He is at 52.4.
Dude, Longoria has a 58, 59.
Yeah.
Like he has had a really terrific career. But going back to the matchup, Cobb did not have his best stuff on Monday evening. Rodon did 6 innings strong with only allowing 1 run. It's gonna be tough for the Guardians to take this series. The power is nuts on the Yankee side.
Which is crazy because Aaron Judge is doing his best Alex Rodriguez or Brandon Lau postseason impression, and it still really doesn't matter. And I know, these teams have played 6 games during the regular season, and teams change rosters and lineups, and teams are different in April than they are in September. But it is noticeable how much New York essentially beat up on Cleveland, outscored them 37-22. And won 4 of those 6 games. So I just wanted to throw that out there and put that in perspective. But I want the Guardians to give teams like the Rays hope that you don't have to spend $250, $300 million to win a World Series, that you can play your own version of baseball that isn't just roll out, multi-million. It really, it's the Yankees. It's here's your starters, here's your lineup, we're done. You don't have to utilize a lot of creativity. Where Stephen Vogt is doing things that Kevin Cash has to do to find the wrinkles and make things work at the end of the day.
It's like, hey, you played today. I got to keep you hot. You're hot. Let me move you down the lineup. It's really fun stuff, really fun baseball. Hopefully they're able to pull it off. Maybe this is me being a negative Nancy. I just don't see it happening for the Guardians. I hope I come on, you know me. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it. I think the Yankees are going to go to the World Series. And then it's just a matter of who is better suited to beat up on these Yanks. Is it the Mets or is it the Dodgers?
That's what I want to ask too. And I know we're running a little bit long here. So if the Yankees were to advance, you would still rather them face the Dodgers than the Mets, not have that Subway Series of sorts?
Let me see a little bit more of the NLCS, and then we can go back to that.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So there it is. We did put it out on the X machine. Who do you think is going to advance to the final dance? Ty McCann, our buddy, says it will be the Dodgers versus the Yankees, but he wants the Mets versus the Guardians. And then Dr. Matthew James Gray, haven't heard from him in a while, all the way out in Australia. Quite a time there. He says Yankees makes me bitter beyond words. I'll note, though, the Yankees have a 14-season drought without a pennant, and that is tied for their second longest such streak in franchise history behind their first 18 seasons, 1903 to 1920. So
I don't like the Dodgers, and I would so much rather the Dodgers beat up on the Mets and then beat up on the Yankees than see the Yankees beat on the Mets or the Dodgers, like 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, so there we go. What's crazy too, last thing here, I've heard the playoffs have been through the roof. Pardon my pun there regarding Tropicana. That's actually kind of surprising to me. Maybe I've been out of the loop with hurricane measures in Florida here, but I think it was Game 5 of Guardians Detroit was one of the most watched ALCS games, playoff games in recent memory. So those are two heavy sports town just rallying around their organizations and franchise. But I would think with NFL starting, with college football having expanded playoffs, that baseball would continue to fall further on the back burner. But apparently not. There's still people that watch it and enjoy it even into mid and late October. So just wanted to throw that out there. And I think, there is some allure to the fact of there's some new and different blood in the postseason. You don't always see Detroit in there. You don't always see Kansas City in there. You don't always see the Mets in there. So
it was nice. It was nice to see them. Yeah.
Yes, it was. All right. In the meantime, thank you for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you on Wednesday.